All initial opinions are this is genuine. What you're about to see may disturb you.
Please don't do it.
It is gold. Solid gold poop.
Move, children! Vámonos!
Right. Should have figured. Right. Should have figured.
Oh!
Alright folks, if you've watched this channel for some time, you'd know that I, like most avid Ben 10 fans, am not a huge fan of Ben 10 Alien Force's third season. Rapid character and tonal changes to this show turned off a lot of fans following the War of Worlds special, to the point where some people rank it even lower than the reboot, which I find ridiculous. I recently had a change of heart regarding this season, and despite there still being flaws, I think Alien Force Season 3 is a great season, and even on par with the previous two in Ultimate Alien. So why don't we explore why, shall we? The biggest issue fans raise about Season 3 is the shift in Ben's personality in particular. Especially noticeable in Vengeance of Vilgax, Ben is extremely cocky and arrogant compared to his mature, stoic personality from Seasons 1 and 2. Fans regard this new Ben as an obnoxious child, obsessed thoroughly with his own success after saving Earth from the hybrid invasion. This makes total sense in my eyes. Leaving aside the fact that Ben often had mood changes prior to this as well, people expecting Ben not to feel high and mighty after saving the whole entire universe or whatever is like saying Vilgax should be humble after conquering 10 worlds. The natural character progression that would proceed after such a victory is, of course, a bit of childish immaturity and overly confident celebration. I would honestly consider it weird in the reverse, if Ben saved the entire universe and then sat in the car with Gwen and apologized for hurting her feelings, like he does 50 times in Season 1. Ben is now not just a world-renowned superhero, but a universe-renowned one. Giving Ben a perfectly reasonable character flaw is a good thing, not a bad thing. I've heard this before, but it's been speculated the Cartoon Network intentionally made him more childish to capitalize on the ratings of the original series when Ben was 10 years old. I don't know if this is true or not, honestly I wouldn't be surprised because it's common sense, but all things considered, Ben's attitude still makes sense in the show's natural character development.
But you won't stay mad at me. I'm adorable.
A lot of people have said that if Season 3 came before Seasons 1 and 2, it would fit a lot better. Not only would Ben's maturity increase in a linear fashion, but the episodic nature of the season would also serve as a transition from the original series to the gritty hybrid arc that would become the series finale. I gotta agree with that, but I still don't think what we got is that bad. And that's the next subject, the episodic nature of Season 3. While Seasons 1 and 2 follow a pretty strict arc that completely breaks down the DNA alien predicament in astonishing detail, Season 3 becomes much more episodic, with loosely connected motifs holding it all together. Things like Kevin being a monster, the Omnitrix being broken again, and Vilgax showing up all the goddamn time. We'll get into each one of these things soon, but the big overarching shift from the first two seasons is the switch from season arcs to unrelated episodes. I personally think this is a nice shift for the show, and allowed for more fun to be had, without an unnecessary arc. If you compare it to Ultimate Alien, which had the aggregate arc for Season 1, episodic thing for Season 2, and the Dagon arc in Season 3, you realize the Dagon stuff was a major letdown, and actually some of the best episodes in Ultimate Alien are the episodic episodes from Season 3. Similarly, episodes like Above and Beyond, Con of Wrath, or Time Heals would have never come to be if Season 3 followed in the footsteps of its predecessor. If viewers aren't a huge fan of whatever arc they decided to go with, they'd be stuck with it for the whole season, rather than simply not liking one or two unrelated episodes like Fool's Gold or Inferno. I'm not saying I love episodic shows, but when you have two seasons your way, it's good to have some variety. Again, maybe if this season came out as the first season, less people would see it as a problem. A lot of the issues here would have been better that way, actually, but that would have destroyed the amazing shift from classic to Season 1, which I still think is much better than going up linearly. Now, instead of defending the season's alleged problems, I want to get into what stands out as good here. The humor, for instance, is incredible. This is really the start of Kevin's Ultimate Alien humor that I just find hilarious. And while Kevin did have some nice moments in Seasons 1 and 2,
knob's broken.
here we get some other aspects of the sense of humor.
It's not funny, Kevin.
Sorry. Okay.
speaking of Kevin, he actually gets a decent arc here, due to his condition he gets that is physically apparent from the first to the last episode. Kevin feels ugly and is less confident in front of Gwen, and even gets his own episode trying to team up with Darkstar, and even one giving us more details about his father. Although this is later retconned for various stupid reasons, but in any case. I still wish Gwen could have been the one to fix him, especially after all the episodes going into it. I would have felt much more deserved and built up than the Omnitrix magically curing him when it was destroyed. Regardless, Kevin in Season 3 has much more treatment than he ever did before this. At this point, he's a well-trusted member of the team, and we no longer have large doubts about that. The episode of Vendetta was a good example of this, as his betrayal of Ben and Gwen, although bittersweet in the episode, doesn't make him feel alien or unfamiliar to us, in the way it may have in Kevin's big score. The animation in the season is also really vibrant, much more color than Seasons 1 and 2, which often had half the frame be completely black, looking extremely lazy and overly dark compared to the tone. Here we get much brighter atmospheres, more overall color, and more fluid animations. This also helps make the episodes less boring, which Seasons 1 and 2 can definitely be accused of. I mean, compare Be Knighted and Vreedle, both pretty average episodes from each season, and tell me which one was more fun to watch and would have hooked you better as a kid. I know which one I'd pick. Speaking of the Vreedles, we get a bunch of epic new characters here, and even explorations of previous characters. Charmcaster and Paradox both get really good comeback episodes here, especially the Paradox episode, which roughly follows the same dystopian plot, the same as It Never Was from TNAS 2003, and How Long Is Forever from Teen Titans, two episodes I've compared in the past. Time Heals, while not perfect, hits on a lot of interesting fronts, and gives us the best Paradox appearance in Alien Force, period. Even better than his origin story. And while a lot of people complain about Vilgax getting too many episodes, there was still a lot of damn potential here that they took advantage of. I don't love all of them, but for example, Ghost Town is one of the best episodes of the UAF in my eyes because they introduce us to a more nuanced look at Vilgax and his home planet.
Burger Shack.
We also got a return of Ghost Freak, which is pretty awesome. Not only did we get two new aliens here, Wrath and Lodestar, Wrath especially being legendary, I made a video about him as well before, by the way, but we get a bunch of classic aliens unlocked again, like Diamond Head and Way Big.
You're in trouble, Vilgax. I've had a lot of practice with this one. Way Big!
I mean, it was super cool to see all these dudes back in the roster, and I wish we could have even gotten Ripjaws or Accelerate. A lot of these changes make me consider Alien Force Season 3 as the first season of Ultimate Alien, since they do share a lot of similarities. A lot of people crap on Vengeance of Vilgax, and I will absolutely defend that episode till I die. The premise of Escaped Aliens is genius, and the fact that Part 2 managed to fit all the important stuff in 22 minutes is astonishing. Also the best Vilgax fight ever if you leave out secrets. Love that episode.
He's gonna lay eggs in Gwen's head, and when they hatch, they'll eat her brain. That's ridiculous.
I yield. That's right. You do.
The final battle is just too good to describe. Even random miscellaneous plots like Simple can serve as funny episodes that prove certain points about Ben and his place as a hero. Above and Beyond shows us Evil Ben, which is just, chef's kiss. And I mean, Con of Wrath is the best thing ever, and would have 100% been less funny if it came out a season prior.
Only next time, I will knit your intestines into a sweater!
There were a lot of great episodes in the season that get overlooked. There were a lot of interesting plot points and characters introduced here that were frankly awesome. And agree or not, I think a lot of my points here were not mainstream opinions, and some you'd probably agree with. And isn't that what it's all about? Be sure to tell me all your thoughts on the season in the comments down below, like the video if you enjoyed, and subscribe to support my work. The socials are all linked below, along with a plethora of other Ben 10 videos. With all that said, I'll see you beautiful ladies and jellyfish in the next one.